Hey, 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 it's your girl Lush, and we're live in the building. And we have another amazing interview. Today, we have the one and only Bobby Penn. Okay, she interviews celebrities all over the place. I mean, from actors to artists and things of that nature. So, we're going to be talking with her about what she's doing. We're going to talk to her soon. And then, on top of that, we're also going to be doing um, some more things. And big shout out to everybody that's out there in Texas. I'm praying for you. I have a couple of friends. Shout out to Ashanti and everybody that's out there in Texas. Praying that you guys are doing well. If you didn't know, Texas was hit with back-to-back storms. A lot of them are out of power. A lot of them are out of water. So, put them in prayer. So we're going to have Bobby Penn live in the building with us on Lush Radio Online. And we're going to be talking to her about all things media. She's a media consultant, a brand manager, and she also has Put Yourself On Academy that is definitely taking the world by storm. And she knows all things branding. She's a media consultant. I mean, she has interviewed everybody you could think of, and she's definitely a media friend and a media sister of mine. And I'm just proud of her growth and everything that she's doing. So we're going to be talking to her. She has your Put Yourself On Academy. She talks about branding and expanding and getting out of your stuck places in the industry. So we're going to go ahead and bring the one and only, the lady of the hour, Bobby Penn, in the building. Hey, girl.
Hey, how are you?
All right. It's exciting to have you here. And I love that lipstick is popping, honey. I
Thank you. A
love it.
little stiller for you. I was trying to go horizontal. Uh-oh, let me turn it back around.
So it's always a pleasure to have you on, just seeing, your growth and everything that you do. So Bobby, what made you, get into the industry of media in general?
Yes, I enjoyed this question. It allows me to kind of reflect on my upbringing and the people around me who tremendously influenced my interests. So I have an aunt, Lena Williams, who was a reporter for the New York Times for 31 years. And throughout her tenure, I watched her cover a myriad of subjects and work in different departments. But when she worked in the style and culture section, that's what kind of did it for me. So I remember spending summers, I'd go from DC to New York and just kind of go through her CD bin, and she'd have like unreleased tracks and samplers and the whole nine in the 90s, back when you would have just the acapella version and just the instrumentals. And I'd really like read and study the names on the album cover. So I credit her for that, as well as my access to sort of the industry. I covered, or not covered, but I attended my first red carpet with her, which was Michael Jordan's Michael to the Max. So my first IMAX film was with my Aunt Lena. Also, Bow Wow, when Bow Wow and B2K were out, I remember my first Bow Wow concert. Not only did I get to go and we had really cool seats, but I also had like a backstage pass to meet Bow Wow, and that was because she was friends with his publicist. So like, just those early experiences and exposure really kind of like made me consider, oh, well, I enjoy music and entertainment, and this is a way to have access to that without actually like being the talent. So I just really leaned into my English courses, and I really made writing and language sort of my thing. And
Mhm.
here we are today.
Definitely. I mean, you've written for so many like amazing media outlets, and actually will Revolt and a couple of other, outlets out there that you've been writing for. But when it comes to, dealing with this industry, what do you feel was like the hardest adversity you faced, going through your journey?
Girl, I'm still going through it. um, the hardest. I feel like it's true what they say. Every new level is a new devil. And the more
Mm.
you grow and the more you have access, the more you see things and the more you learn about people and how we function and
Yeah.
the different quirks that we have. And it becomes amusing after a while. But I remember early on just this I'm trying to say this in the most humble way possible, but this idea of like competition in that, so I try to be really genuine, right? Like I really like people. I really like connecting with people. I'm grateful for the upbringing that I had, which was very rooted in love. I grew up in church, community. All of those things matter to me and are important to me. And I grew up around other people who valued that. So when I came into this space and I learned that, wait a minute, you could be as nice as you want to be and be as well intended as you want to be, and people are still going to try to stop you and block you and make up stuff and just make life really challenging for you. It teaches you not to be hard and not to be bitter, but to be mindful and to better guard your heart, which is also biblical, right? Like, guard your heart from which all things flow. Everybody is not operating with the same tools and ideals. So the quicker you can learn and understand that, the less personal maybe you can take things that are strictly professional, and like understand that politics are a real thing, and it's a lot of nuances. I'll say it that way. It's a lot of nuances within the industry and as you move about things. So just kind of like learning that on the go has been an interesting process. But all in all, I feel like it's made me a better person today, and I'm far more wise and just, I don't know. I'm kind of liking where I am in my 30s right now. I have less fucks to give. Do you mind if I cuss?
Go ahead. This is real talk. You know,
I have less fucks to give, and it is making things a lot easier for me. I'll say it that way.
Well, one thing, you know, I love you, Bobby. Just, you know, because, you know, it's hard to like keep friends in this industry, especially as us as women. You know, some people will fly by nights. You know, some people, you know, could really give a rat's ass. You know, if you know you're doing good. And by the way, are you doing good out there in Texas with all the crazy stuff going on with the storm?
I appreciate it. Fortunately, where I am specifically, we were not hit too hard. Thank God I have power, I have heat. But I do know people personally who have been impacted. So my heart, my thoughts goes out to anybody experiencing hardship right now. This year is if it's still 2020. But the last few months have been really wacky for all of us. So yeah, my heart and my thoughts go out to everybody. And if you need any help, perhaps I know of some resources that can get you either shelter, food, or a little bit of both.
Definitely contact you on the inbox. But you know, and like we talked about, just friendships, rapport in this industry, and us as women, you know, it's, you know, the society gets us to be competitive with one another. And the thing about it is that when I see people in the industry, I'm like, you know what, I want to build relationships and stuff, but sometimes it's hard because you don't know who to trust, because you could be nice, like you said, and then the next day somebody's trying to, you know, cut your throat. And did you feel like, because I found from coming from New York, it wasn't like that. But when I came to the DMV, it was a different market. You know, you see a lot of that. It's like the hunger. Sometimes you lose ethics, you know, when it comes to doing good business. Do you feel sometimes with media outlets, as you travel around, do you see the culture changing? We still have the little, you know, quirks and stuff, but do you still see the culture changes?
Based from city to city.
Yeah, city to city.
On the one hand, yes. On the other hand, no. If that makes sense. I definitely think it's been an advantage to work in several different markets and kind of learn how people do things and see how people look out for each other or don't, things of that nature. So I have sort of taken mental notes there. But one thing that I find interesting, no matter what city I go to, when I say it back to people, they hate hearing it. But everybody swears that nobody puts on for their city. Nobody cares about the locals. You got to come from out. So if everybody's saying that, how are people making it then? I've heard that from every single city. And mainly I've heard it from music artists talking about radio, which I love to address because I did work in the radio space, even though most of my time was spent in digital. I did spend time with programming. So I know for a fact that there would be at least monthly opportunities for unsigned artists to come play their music for the music directors. And that's just one example of there being outlets and resources. Being from DC, as you mentioned, I got my start in media in the DC market. I made a name for myself in the DC market. So how was I doing that? Because I was networking and getting outside of my bubble, right? Like, you got to go talk to people, like meet people. I didn't leave DC because I had some problem with it. Opportunity presented itself elsewhere and I took it. I wasn't afraid to go see something else. And the goal and the intention is to be able to bring those things back. But while I was there, the point of me bringing that up is while I was there, I took full advantage of what was there. And there would be events at the Rise Center from Made in the DMV, right? They put people on. I met Tuma Basa there. He's still a great friend and colleague of mine. This guy's one of the most powerful, influential people in music. I met him in DC at a panel. that I attended. I wanted to work for Revolt years before the opportunity actually presented itself. I remember meeting Keith Clinkscale, who came from ESPN to help Diddy build Revolt in DC at a free panel. So when we say that we don't have opportunities and nobody supports, where are you looking? I don't understand. Because there's always some kind of opportunities. Even me being new here in Houston, in the midst of the pandemic, I moved here literally 2 weeks before everything shut down around the world. I literally had just gotten to Houston. And within a matter of months, shout out to the Houston Arts Alliance, I received a grant from the city, right? Like, I just got here and I found the resources. So it's like, when we complain and say that there's no room for people, it's really just not true. How do you choose to go about getting it? And I think that's where you talk about ethics, where that comes in, right? Where people would rather cheat and sneak and kind of lie and fabricate their resumes or their credentials in order to get opportunities, but that's not how you stay there, right?
Exactly.
If you didn't really do the work, it doesn't
Exactly.
matter that you're there now, because you have to be able to stay there. So
Exactly.
from constantly doing research, constantly building my network, even when people do disappoint me and come up short, or instances where I have screwed up opportunities, right? I don't want to act like I'm so perfect. I've definitely been in positions that perhaps I could have done more. And in the moment, imposter syndrome, it's another term I just learned on TikTok today. Basically, like the upper limit, that's the term. When you're fearful of crossing into the next level because you're almost afraid of being successful, like that happens. So, I definitely don't want to just make it sound like it's all roses and fairies, right? Like, there's going to be some stuff for you to overcome outside of you when it comes to dealing with other people as well as internal. But the things that you can control, you should be really working on doing that. And when, you know what I mean, like, being negative to people is not going to change the fact that you're not ready or not prepared, or that you could study in this area more or be better groomed or better suited in this area. So I don't know. I hope that answered your question, girl. But like, it just blows me when people try to move dirty, because you don't have to. Like, it's opportunity out here, and it's so much room for creativity and for people to be different and bring all of our flavors together, that, like, you don't have to dim the other person's shine in order to get it for yourself. Like, you don't have to.
Exactly.
It's room for all of us. I promise you.
Exactly. And I'm looking at, like, when it comes to just, media in general, we have so many different media styles. Like you said, everyone has a different media style. Some people are specific red carpets. Some people are hip hop. Some people, are doing, just actors in general. There's room for everybody, and seeing your journey, because we've done a couple of different outlets. We've been in the same area so many times, but you've always been genuine. And when I say, hey, Bobby, and saying it's always love, but you don't always get that sometimes. But I've seen your growth, sis, and I'm just proud of you, and you being fearless and just jumping out there and saying, hey, I'm going to do this. And I know it's hard sometimes, because we question ourselves, am I enough? Have I done this enough? Are they going to accept me? And then you created your own lane, and it's big sometimes, and I'm also speaking from experience too. When you're sitting there with the big NBCs and all these big networks, and you're like, they actually like, who you with? No, I'm with my own brand, Right. Like, how did that feel the first time when you stepped on those red carpets or on that stage with the bigger brands, and you like, I did this?
It's exciting. It's funny you say that. So iPhone will show you, like, old memories, and apparently I'm a digital hoarder. Like, I don't have pictures and videos and stuff, so I never have space on my phone. Anyway,
I do the same thing still.
Right. So recently, some old pictures from my earlier red carpets where my name is, like, between BET is on this side and, like, Ebro in the Morning is on this side, or, like, whatever, right? Like, those moments where you look at a red carpet and you check out the placement, and it's like, I remember when I first came on these things, one, I was under somebody else's name as either intern or a contributor, and I'm grateful for those experiences. Or you get on the carpet, but they got you at the absolute end. You not even, literally, there's no more carpet. You barely there. The backdrop, the step and repeat stopped 2 yards ago. Like, the artists are rushing past you to just go in the building, but you there to, like, wow, like, I'm here smack dab front and center. Like, I have been prioritized, or at least it looks that way, to, deliver. Like, people expect me to deliver. And, it's really exciting. It really is, especially when you're passionate about what you do. you know, you really have poured a lot into it, you've truly invested in it, it feels great to feel sort of rewarded, if you would, and recognized. And yeah, it's nothing like that feeling. I'm grateful again for the opportunities I have and have had to contribute to larger brands and larger media companies. And all of that has brought its own experience and wisdom that I can apply to be a better businesswoman and continue to grow my own personal brand. But it's nothing like having your own and just kind of, it's like Frankenstein. I call it like a little Frankenstein, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's like walking, like, oh yeah, it's like moving, like it's working.
And the crazy to let the viewers know, like when we're on the red carpet, it's like this tiny, like
yeah,
it's so tiny, and you're like you're in there, the lights are on, you having kind of anxiety, because you're like
small space,
yeah,
fast
exactly.
pace.
Any little thing could go wrong, you know. You're like audio, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
What is your wildest moment like that ever happened? Like,
oh girl, I've had a lot. And I feel like here's something that maybe separates me from some of the other media girls. I don't know, maybe they share these stories, I don't feel like I've heard them. There's been plenty of times since that I have shown up to these events completely by myself, so there's no cameraman. And I'm praying that when I get there, either somebody that's already there filming wouldn't mind helping me, or there's somebody in my network who's in the space at the BET Awards, at the Grammys, wherever, and they just kind of want the access. And for the listen, I'll trade you access for you. Just hit the record button on the camera for me. That's all I need you to do. And don't get starstruck. That's it. Like, if you could do that for me, we going to this party, girl. We in the VIP. We got the drink, like whatever. Just hit the camera for me. So I've had those situations. I've shown up to Soul Train Awards with no room to stay in, and you know, worked it out with one of my peers and colleagues. So when I definitely, when I talk about networking, I'm not just saying it because it sounds good. I'm grateful to all the people who have let me couch surf in New York, sis. Like, I got stories. Like, I got stories.
So, the grind is real. People don't understand.
Yes, no, it really is. Like, it's for real been a rags to riches kind of story, and I'm definitely still not rich yet. But I've seen a lot, and like it has truly taken a tribe to even get to this point. So I do use terms like self-made success on my podcast and things of that nature. But that is not 100% accurate, because there have been people in my corner to help push me, to mention my name for opportunities that I may not be present for. And definitely, like I said, people who've shared a hotel room with me, people who have let me sleep on their couch for an audition or an interview, who have held cameras for me, loaned me battery pack. And I'm talking about quote unquote competitors, really. Like, they don't have to do anything for me. Yeah. And just to see another person out there getting it or whatever, like I've benefited from those, and I've been the person to be able to extend those favors. So yeah, I just try to like operate in that space. And like I said, it feels good to have all of those sort of hard knock stories and be able to look back and be like, it was worth it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't make sense in the moment. People thought I was crazy or whatever, right? Like, why don't you just go be a teacher, go work for the post office? Like, watch. Watch.
I think that's sometimes the hardest thing, because you know, I remember when I was doing Let's Radio 9 and people laughed at me and they were like nah, but then they see all the once that they say, like, you get a lick like a drug dealer, you get that one hit, after that everything starts rolling after that. So as you continue to grow, and you've been getting back to back, and not only that, like, you've been an actor, you've been acting, you know what I'm saying, you've written, you are a multitude of talent, right, bottled in this beautiful person, right? And you've done so much, and that's, you know, seeing so many different layers of you, and also a trainer and a teacher. Not only are you doing it and paving the way and creating opportunities through your journey, but you're also teaching people. You know, I remember when you started to put yourself on Academy, and it was at the prototype pace, but you've been going full throttle with it, you know, this year. So talk to us about the creation of that.
Yes, no, Lush, first of all, I appreciate your heart and your sincerity. You have been consistent the whole time I've known you. So this is not just the act for the camera, y'all. This is her behind the scenes. You've come see me in New York or whatever. So I definitely appreciate that. But yes, girl. Okay, so when I was talking about sometimes fumbling the bag, right? Here's an example for me to be transparent. I've been sitting on this course since, honestly, before even 2008, 2019. 2018, 19 rather.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the case, I came up with the concept years ago, and I let imposter syndrome and actual anxiety. Like, I remember filming, trying to get these lessons out a couple years ago, and had a full-on panic attack. The videographer had to like calm me down. And it's that upper limit that I was just talking about. This notion of like, what if it doesn't work? Right? Like, I could just be content here in this box. People know me for celebrity interviews. They've seen me do TV One. They've seen me do the Shade Room. They know this from me. So if I go here and it doesn't work, what happens? And what shifted for me over the last few months of what you've seen me releasing my ebook, the Put Yourself On Academy, the songwriting and sharing my art in that sense, 2020 really put in perspective that tomorrow's not promised. And that even if you follow all the rules, quote unquote, the rules can change at any moment. Then what? Are you still satisfied? Are you still proud of yourself? Right? I was watching our peers in media be let go from decades worth careers, 20, 30 something plus years at these jobs that they're killing it at. They're doing amazing work. And the economy shifts because of a global health crisis that no one was prepared for. And your job is gone, just like that. Do you have a legacy, or was your legacy tied up in that position that belongs to that company, that person that built their vision? So I really just leaned into it. I relocated from New York to Houston in the midst of the pandemic, like I mentioned. I was laid off 3 months in. Am I going to sit here and cry and wallow and be mad, or am I going to put the pedal to the metal, sis, and all this potential that you're sitting on and not really using it? Are you going to use it? Right? Like, you've been in this position before. When I was in New York, I was experiencing extreme financial hardships. I did not have a residence. I was sleeping at the radio. I got caught sleeping at the radio station. Shout out to HR, because she didn't really go in on me like that. She tried to give me help, but I got caught sleeping at work. Like, it was that real, chasing this media thing. And I felt like the lesson in all of that was that you have it within you, on some like Rafiki from The Lion King. Remember who you are, right? Like, it's what you like. You tripping right now. It's already in you. So me coming to that realization and that understanding within myself, I'm so excited and joyous to have tapped into that now I feel prepared to share that with other people. And that's what it is. That's what you can learn and get from the Put Yourself On Academy. Not only am I actually teaching you the skills and tools and resources that I've learned either through my 15-year career or the formal education I received at some of the top institutions in the country, but I'm also sharing with you motivation and community and the opportunity to build your own network, like I had throughout the years through the membership program, where you can actually join forces with other enrollees in the academy, as well as the different speakers I have weekly on Zoom calls, where you can actually connect with professionals who have been doing this, whether they're my peers who are also hosts, writers and editors, publicists, things of that nature. So I'm really, really excited for the lives that will be changed. I've already gotten great feedback from some of my students. You can see testimonials on the website now, as well as written reviews. So I'm just, it almost shocks me that like I have been chosen, if you would, that God sees fit to use me to like motivate others and help to position others to step into their own purpose and to live the dreams and the potential that's already placed within them. It's like really empowering and exciting. And it makes me nervous again, right? Of like, who am I to be like empowering people? But I had to go through what I went through in order to be an inspiration to others and know how to encourage and inspire others when they're down, right? Because it's harder to do that if everything was kind of like super easy for you. Exactly. So I don't know. I wear it as a rite of passage. And like I said, the course is my opportunity to kind of pay it forward and like share the wisdom and encouragement and skills and knowledge and all of the things that kind of make my brand what it is, to be able to share that in a more intimate setting.
And you know, I'm so proud of you. You've been laying the seeds ever since you picked up that mic. You've been inspiring people. Okay. So
I appreciate it. I heard that before, like in my own little reserved way, when I would have one-on-one conversations with people after like a press junket or something like that, we'll grab a drink or whatever. And people would just kind of like start confiding in me and be like, by the end of it, it's like, y'all really feel uplifted. Like, you should like look in, like, that's a thing. Like, you could really do that. So I don't know. I'm an old soul. I always got that.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sharing a lot more recently that I was adopted at 3 months old, and I was raised by a single woman who was more mature. She was 48 years old when she adopted me. So I've been around kind of like mothering, nurturing sort of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And perhaps at a younger age, you don't really know how to receive that from someone who's younger than you. But I think as
Yeah.
I mature, and again, the more I learn and the more I learn about people, perhaps my delivery has changed as well. Do you get what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of coming into my own a little bit more.
Where you're growing, like I said, like, you know, watching your journey, you're growing, because like I said, with this shift, we're all ascending, finding ourselves, going within ourselves, learning what we don't want, what we accept. And like you said, you know, life is not promised to anyone. You know, we've seen, you know, some people come and go, and it kind of makes us kind of cherish what we did establish, you know, having your own, as Bobby Pan, your pan, like, yeah, you might have been, you know, even if you were left off, you still have your brand. It's yours. No one can take that from you, you know? And there's so many different brand lines that come from Bobby Penn, you know, from the Put Yourself On Academy, the podcast, and so many things. And this is something you've created, and it started off with an idea, and you've grown it, you know, with your hard work and your sweat and your tenacity. So, like I said, I'm proud of you, and you're inspiration to so many women and youth out there. Um, Now, when it comes to self-care, okay, you know, we always on the go. This thing right here is attached to our hip, right?
Literally.
We're always on the go. But what does self-care look like for you?
Whew, that changes. And I can be honest with myself and admit that I need to better prioritize it. So please, if you don't hear nothing else this entire interview, be sure to prioritize your self-care and mental health. You are the machine. If you're an entrepreneur, if you are the face of your brand, product, service, you are the machine. You cannot break down. And you know, I actually fell back a lot this week. Due to the weather, it just kind of is gloomy a little bit, so it makes you kind of want to hibernate anyway. And I sometimes have this feeling of like when I do sort of slow down and take a break, I feel like I'm not productive. I'm sure other people feel like that too. That's not healthy. We can't operate like that. Like, we're humans. You're not going to be able to keep going. So I've been training myself to allow myself that grace to take a break. Like, okay, so I want to sit here and binge watch a show on Netflix.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel bad about that, because I promise you, I probably did more in the last 48 hours than like somebody who is not trying. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
if you're trying and you're constantly putting one foot in front of the other, you're above average, off break. So the more, like, the quicker you accept that, the more okay it is. Furthermore, the more affluent and wealthy people that I've met and come across don't necessarily work hard for their money. They work, but they don't necessarily work hard. They figure out ways to make their money work for them, or their image work for them, or whatever, right? Like, so as I'm building this brand, it's not so much about having a pretty logo and the right colors and the right font, as much as what am I known for? I'm known for excellence. I'm known for tenacity. Right. Like, I want to be known for these pillars, so that whatever I put my name on, federal trademark pending. Okay. Whatever I put my name on, you know what you're going to get. And I got that quote actually last year today. I think I interviewed Bill Bellamy for the Self-Made series on Netflix about Madison J. Walker. And he said that. If I could pull up the video for you right now, I would. But he said those exact words. Like, when you're building a brand, it's about knowing that when you hire Bill Bellamy, you're going to get somebody who's going to be on time. He's always going to be funny, no matter what the script is. Even if it's a serious role on set, he's going to bring humor, right? Like, you know what you're going to get when you hire him. And I just really internalized that. Like, that's the whole goal with this thing. So with that said, I need to be on point. And right now, I don't really feel like I am, so don't get too close up on me. But yeah, bro, like, washing your hair. Like, I love doing these wigs and stuff. And like, sometimes you'll leave your braids in a little too long. Cut that out. Take the braids out. Massage your scalp. Feel good about yourself. Baths, bubble baths have been like my go-to during the pandemic.
Yes.
Especially because in New York, a lot of those apartments don't have tubs. So now I have a tub. You can't tell me nothing. I got some salt, my candles.
Yes.
What else do I be doing for self-care? It's a little cold right now and gloomy, but when it's warmer here in Houston, going out for a walk, like nature helps ground me. So breathing in, fresh air, getting the vitamin D from the sun, putting my feet. Sometimes literally I'll take my shoes off and put my feet in the grass and like connect with the dirt and just kind of like reground myself, being near water and just hearing the waves crashing. My birthday is 4/20, so I partake in those activities. You feel me? And that also helps kind of bring me down and just helps me unwind. So yeah, just doing things for ourselves, getting our nails done, girl. When I was struggling and going through the situation, I couldn't go get my nails done. That was like a real luxury. So just being able to like do little girly stuff to feel feminine and remind myself that I am worth being pampered and that I don't need to wait for a man or any other circumstance outside of me to make myself feel beautiful and feel important. So yeah, I try to take every opportunity I can to do that, girl. Face mask, all that jazz.
All that. We need it. We deal with a lot of stuff. So just those little things, even just taking a breath, because, we're so busy and we can work it in, we can work it in to do and show up for everyone else, but we have to definitely show up for ourselves. And let's switch on to the digital climate. We in the digital climate, it was already going to happen. We were ahead of the curve, right? Because we've already been dealing in that digital climate. Yeah. With the introduction of, our favorite place we like to go on, Clubhouse, with the introduction of that, but it's nothing new. We've been doing this from the times of a MySpace and the chat line and all these things like that. But it just showed the importance of interaction, interaction with people. And where do you feel media? What is it going to look like for you in your mindset? What does it look like in the future for the media and what we're doing in the near future with the digital climate and communities?
That is a great question that I am not sure I have the answer to. Me and another colleague I know from radio, she's a beast at like just digital programming. And I was telling her that, I'm like, what is radio going to look like after this? She's like, who knows what media is going to look like in general? And I've been pondering that for the last couple of weeks. I don't know what to expect other than more invention, more creativity, more raising the bar. Clubhouse is definitely a great example of the power of voice and audio storytelling, but we can't overlook TikTok and Reels.
Exactly.
And how we actually have access to like green screen right in our phones now.
Yes.
Like, I bought this whole $50 setup to have a green screen in the phones. Like, they done built it in the phones. So like there's no end to how we can tell stories and connect with others and educate, inform, and entertain. Like there's no limits to this. And I'm enjoying that. And I don't know, I want to see where things go. And I want to definitely continue to be at the forefront of pushing that forward and being a catalyst of change, right? So definitely. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I know that it should lead to a lot more creativity and hopefully a raising of the standards again. I don't know. I think that could be a flip side of this, though.
Yeah.
Everybody has access to the technology now, so who's who?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because it's so many different things have been accepted now, right? And it's like, what kind of content are you truly putting out there? And is it, what do you want to tell the people? Is it all just scandal and stuff? What do you want to, like, are you educating and entertaining people? I would love to definitely get back to that. But technology always is rapid. It's every second. We're an on-demand society, so it's coming rapidly. It was funny because I was saying years ago, I said, y'all laughing about this internet radio that y'all was talking about was pilot radio. And before it was already podcasting, but people hadn't jumped onto it, right? I said these FM radio stations and AM are going to have to switch and do stuff online and streaming. And look, it's happened.
Yeah.
So as we could, and then who knows? Maybe they'll have holograms of us. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
They done scanned enough of our faces and bodies doing the dances and stuff. Come on now. That's on the way.
Exactly. So we're here, and it's beautiful to see as we grow in media. But also, I think, can you just also talk about how important it is to diversify, your skill set when it comes to, dealing in this industry, because everything's subject to change. And like you said, nothing is guaranteed.
Oh, girl, always be learning. Like, you cannot be satisfied in this industry. I don't think you should be satisfied in anything. My mom used to say this to me: when you stop learning, it's time for you to expire. Because, like, what else are you here for? And to kind of add to that, I remember interviewing Dion Cole, one of my favorite interviews ever. Mad slept on too. I don't think it got that many views, but he was really dropping gems on me that night. And I think that was divinely orchestrated. That's a whole nother conversation. I feel like some of the interviews I have really aren't necessarily for the public per se. It's literally God be sending people to talk to me. But anyway, even he was saying, right, like, so you got this talk show now, that's dope. Like, so what's the next step? Like, always be asking what's next. Like, thank you God, more please, right? Like, you can never be satisfied. So shoot, what was the question, babe? I'm sorry. I was in my bag.
we were talking about shoot, I done lost it. This is terrible.
I was going through those quotes. Okay.
Yeah, but you were talking about actually like an interview. You had the interview, and sometimes the interviews sometimes turn out more as God sent versus you know, all about the views. And so, well, let's transition from that. A lot of people are so stuck on like views and stuff like that, but sometimes you might get somebody that you might not even think about, but gets even more views than some of the big artists you look at. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
there's several factors that goes into that. A little bit of the algorithm, which apparently the easiest way to describe it from what I understand is it works like a slot machine, right? So the systems know how frequently you use it, how much you engage with other people's content, what you post, as well as how frequent you post. Like, they can tell all of that. They can scan it. If you got text in the image already or the video already, they can still read that, right? They can read your lips, all of that stuff. So they know what you're doing on the gram. That's the long and short of it. And in order for you to stay on, as well as your users to stay on, they have to kind of treat it like a sort of, I'm going to reward you and then I take it back, reward you and then take it back. And that keeps you kind of guessing and keeps you checking in or what have you. So several factors can go into that. Of course, strategy comes in. There are tools that can kind of help, tools that are not bots or other like misleading things. There are tools that can kind of help you stand apart or whatever.
There's so many different tools, and then but the whole thing is that they're using AI too, because those also like trigger and send out like red flags for different things. It's just crazy with everything that, you know, we're doing in media and stuff, because you know you have some people that's been on. I mean, they got their blue check, they're doing their stuff, and some of them are not doing as well, you know, because they were so used to sending, you know, automated generated notes to people, but not real using their social currency and really engaging with their fans, right? You know.
Yeah, no, it's ever changing again, and you got to try to, as best you can, like, stay up on the trends. But at the end of the day, how do I want to say this? Views do matter. So I don't, that would be misleading to not to like take that off the table. But that's also not the end all be all, because again, I look at some of my peers who I can say it this way. My career has been interesting in that by me having my own platform, I've got to meet a lot of other indie creators or independent media outlets and publications. And I see how they move and what they do and the access that they get. But then I've also been able to share spaces with corporate brands and people in the corporate side of media and the more mainstream side. And saying all of that to say, the people who really hold the power positions in a lot of these companies sometimes are not necessarily the most popular online. And that's not where their focus is either, right? The people who are writing these Pulitzer Award winning pieces are not necessarily on the gram. They might even, if anything, they probably on Twitter, but the point is they're not necessarily chasing, or their notoriety, that's a better way to put it. Their notoriety doesn't come from their social media clout. It comes from the content of their work.
Exactly.
So I feel like it depends on where you fall in the spectrum and what you want to be known for and what your legacy is. But I would much rather be respected and compensated accordingly than to be popular and broke, because I've lived that life and it's not cool. Like, it's not that deep.
And that's no, that's true. So I've been homeless before, so I know how it is. So, so and with a kid, so it's not a joke. So like, we get so passionate about the stuff, and then people don't understand. They see the glitz and the glam. They think it's easy for us, but they don't know the journey, what it took for her to be who she is today. It's not easy, and sometimes it takes your hard-earned money to get there. And as all of these things are becoming more, so these kids are like tech savvy. They come out like you talked about with the green screen situation. You got TikTok and stuff that are telling stories or whatever, and even with your niche, right? You might not be the best at an Instagram, but you can go to TikTok and blow up instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
You can go on a Clubhouse, blow up instantly, and have one follow on IG.
Right.
So it's all about your niche. And then, like, you are right, there are some people that are like Nobel Peace Prize winners, and they freaking don't hardly have a following, but they might be on Twitter, but they're making stupid money. So it's all about intention and perspective. And we thank you so much, because I know, you got so much going on, and and I'm just inspired about that. And you also got clothing too. Put yourself on. You got clothing also.
Yes, I have merch that accompanies the online course. So you can check out all of my merch, ebooks, or even enroll in the course or the membership program at thebobbypin.com/shop. Also, or you could just shop my Instagram profile, girl. I made it real easy for y'all. You could go ahead and click the view shop button on my Instagram profile at BobbyPin. And you can also learn more about my digital products and the online course membership there, or slide into my DMs, right? I be responding. I try to, at least. So yeah, don't come DM me nothing crazy. If you talking some business, I got a couple minutes for you. You can come holler.
Definitely make sure you support her. Support women in business. I think that we in the Jewish community, I always talk about the dollar rotates several times. Like, we have to rotate and support small businesses, especially women in business. As so many different people on the top of the totem pole, and sometimes we get the short end of the stick. We put in so much work. We kick in doors. We create opportunities for people that haven't even had, in their lives. So at the end of the day, support the business. She's doing amazing things, and she's giving back, through, her journey. And I definitely want you to support her, and definitely get you one of the sweatshirts on, because them things are hot. She got the sweatshirt. She got the pants, all of that, So definitely, and enroll in the course, because a lot of you guys out there don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. So you need it.
You said it, not me, but
yeah, you don't know what you're doing. So I'm just telling you, go check it out. Get the course. It's going to be in depth. She's really going to deep dive in there, and she has experts in the field that can definitely guide you in the best way to take your business to the next level. Get out of those stuck points. She's definitely there. She knows her work, and she's going to definitely tell you all that information. And for those tuning in, make sure you follow Bobby Pin on Instagram, and she's Googleable. If you Google her, she's all over the place. So make sure you Google her, support her, and I love you so much, sis. You are the best, and you are amazing. And somebody just texted me. They said, they wanted to ask, like, if you had your top 3 things for anybody getting into the industry, what kind of advice would you give them?
Top 3 pieces of advice for getting into the industry. Know your craft, learn it, study it. So if that's being a host, study the great hosts, without completely copying somebody else, right? Like, infuse your style, but use the principles or the things that they do well to help you grow. If you're a writer, you need to read strong writers. That's how you become a better writer. Expand your vocabulary, things of that nature. So really learn and study your craft. 2, mentorship, networking, right? Mentorship doesn't have to mean that you go to the leader of that Fortune 500 company and expect that they're supposed to make time for you. It could literally mean working with the person alongside you, the person on the same level as you, and is trying to move in the same direction, but they have expertise or skill set or way of thinking that's different from yours. Challenge each other in that way. And 3 would be, once you do all the studying and all the networking, you really just got to do it, right? Because there's a lot of people with a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge that they're just sitting on. So what good is wisdom if you don't have the experience to match it? So you need to get out there. You need to do it. You can learn on the way down. I feel like build the parachute on the way down.
Yeah.
So yeah, like just do it. Get out there. Everything you do doesn't have to necessarily be a home run, but you should try to give it your best. So I feel like 3 pieces of advice.
That's your advice. You heard it first. What she said. You heard it. It's your girl, Leshy Lesh. Don't forget to log on to www.leshradioonline.net. You'll find pieces of this snippets on IG, TikTok, and many more. We definitely thank you for joining in. Life may throw you a curveball, but you're in charge of the direction it goes. It's your girl, Lesh, and you just officially got stamped. We appreciate you for tuning in. All right.